Hey everybody, we're back for a block recap. Um, I played I I played in a block daily that was recorded for the article on Pure MTGO, and unfortunately I went 2-2 in it, and I felt like I got a little bit unlucky by not seeing any aggro decks and just playing against 4 control decks. Um, a little later on in the week, I think it was 2 days later, I got home from work a little bit early and I was able to get into another daily event at midnight. I wasn't able to record it because it was midnight and I was pretty tired. I didn't really want to record and play at the same time. But having played through the event and then gone to sleep and waking up, I decided that it would be okay to do a quick little recap of the event. I only played against 2 different decks. I played against red, white, black control twice and mono red aggro twice. But we're just going to run through the games real quick. And so round 1, game 1, we won the die roll. And I believe we're up against the red, white, black deck. So we've got a pretty good hand in the dark. We've got removal. We've got acceleration and a fatty. One of the things I did do with the deck, if you've seen the newest article, you'll know that there's Loxodon Smiters now instead of Deathrite Shamans, and the sideboard has been reworked. I felt that my deck was a little poor against aggro or control in general, so I made some slight changes. I put an Angel of Serenity in the main deck, taking out 1 key rune, and added a 4th Underworld Connections in my sideboard to deal with these decks. So we're playing against this red, white, black deck. He's had Amizium Mortars for my first elephant, and then he Rakdos returns away some not garbage, but not really great spells, and we top deck a Ghost Council, which is just fantastic. So he's got his own, and our Ghost Councils will flicker on each other. But we've got this elephant, and we've got this key rune, which I believe we attack with. Nope, we just get super lucky and draw double ghosts in a row. I will say that I feel like we got, except for round 3, which is the round that we ended up losing, I feel like we had a pretty good tournament in this event. We drew pretty well. We only made one real mistake, and we ended up winning the game that we made the real mistake in anyway. So I wanted to offer the trade of Selesnya Keyrune. He wasn't going to be able to just take it. And I didn't want to attack with my Obsidian and let him trade his Boros Reckoner for Obsidian. So we let him trade the Keyrune. And this turn I think we draw a land. Yep, we draw a land. So we just attack with our Keyrune, put him to no board, and then see what's going on. Apparently these red, white, and black decks, Keyrunes are amazing. They have very little instant speed removal. I think just Devour Flesh and Aurelius Fury. So now, when we were playing this, I was starting to get worried because I've got him at 2. But if he plays a ghost, then we probably lose the game. Instead, we draw our 3rd ghost. So I'm going to pause and then head over on to game 2. Alright, so we're back for game 2. And this time we're on the draw. We've got a pretty good hand. We've got 2 removal spells and a ramp. All of our colors. Drawing a land there, not the greatest. We do have 5 drops. So here, if I'm not mistaken, we run out the plains and Orzhov Charm this guy. We wanted to Orzhov Charm it because it's only going to deal us 2 damage. We could have saved the Orzhov Charm for the Reckoner, but then we would have taken an extra damage. And Abrupt Decay is just pretty good all around. So, Slaughter Games. And he hits my Ghost Councils. And I was like, oh, that is a dagger. But, he's taking a lot of damage from his comes into play untapped lands. And then he hits us for our Angels. And I'm just like, oh, there's no way we can win this game. But I just start bashing in with my key rune here. Start to put a little bit of a clock on him. And my plan is to get up to like 9 mana, I think it is, including the key rune, to make an 8/8. He's got Aurelia, and we top deck a Vraska here. After we take a couple of attacks from her. So we top deck a Vraska, we play it and pop the Aurelia. And I believe next turn we play a Gatecreeper Vine, and then Grove of the Guardian it up. Make an 8/8, and I'm pretty sure he concedes here. Yep, alright. So that's it for the first round. I'll pause and we'll bring up round number 2. So here we are against one of the mono red decks that we played. We lost the die roll, which is never good, and we have to mulligan to 5. We do end up making a game out of it, but we were just down too many cards for it to work out. I guess I should have said spoiler alert, since I'm pretty much conceding the fact that I lost game 1. So he didn't have a 1-drop, which is great for us. But he did have 2 2-drops on turn 3. Or on turn 2, I'm sorry. We absorb one of it with our Selesnya Charm. We're going to play a Centaur, or a Loxodon Smiter. And it gets mortared. The idea was we want to play Loxodon Smiter and block the Gorehouse Chainwalker, and then, well, gobble up the Gorehouse Chainwalker. He's got another Mizium Mortars, though, and it's not looking good for the home team. We use our Golgari Charm to get rid of his Legion Loyalist and debuff his team, and we also take a damage to Orzhov Charm, his huge guy. We draw a Vraska, which, if we had been able to play this Vraska, we may have been able to turn the game around, but we were not. We were not able. So we played Vraska here, and played into an empty board. And he draws a Boros Reckoner, and our only piece of removal deals us 3 life loss, and that would be the game. So we lost game 1. I guess I should say how I sideboarded in these games. I'll do the sideboard for the mono red deck now, and then when we get to the second red white black deck, I'll do that sideboard as well. I'm not going to retroactively do it, because we did only play against the 2 archetypes in this tournament. So against this mono red deck, this is how we sideboard. Tristani, all 4 High Priests, Wasteland Viper, and 2 Golgari Charms. And what we do is we take out this Angel, we take out 3 Vraskas, we take out these 2 Key Runes, we take out this Vizkopa Confessor, and then we also took out 1 Golgari Guildgate. And that's that. So, on to game 2. We're on the play this time. And our hand is perfect. We've got a turn 2 High Priest. We've got a turn 3 Loxodon Smiter. And in this attack, I don't think our opponent actually knows what High Priest of Penance does. Otherwise, there's no way he would have attacked first. Because we get to gobble up his Foundry Street Champion, or Denizen, and then gobble up his Gorehouse Chainwalker as well. And then we play out our Elephant. Smash. He plays out a Reckoner, and he just plays the pass game. And now we are all about ramping up into our Obsidat. If we get lucky, we can play it next turn. I figured he had a Dynacharge here, which is the only reason he would attack with both. And I thought that if he did, I could get him to use it and maybe blank his turn. He still had a 3-drop though, or a 2-drop. We did get lucky and play our Obsidat. We had to pay 2 life to get it on, but he's there. And we've got plans to kill his Boros Reckoner. He does Dynacharge to get rid of our Ghost, but we make a Gate Creeper here to get a Forest, and then we're going to Abrupt Decay his Boros Reckoner. Next turn we're going to follow it up with a Centaur Healer and a Selesnya Charm, if I'm not mistaken. So we kill his Reckoner, take 2 from the hasty guy. And we drop our Centaur Healer down. And he refuses to attack into it. So we make a 2/2 Knight so that we can pump up with Grove. And we make our 8/8, and I believe the game is pretty academic from here. I'm looking at these Golgari Charms, and I'm like, oh, this is the worst. But they actually do come in pretty handy in the next game. So we're back for the third game of the second round. We have to instant mulligan a terrible hand, and this hand looks okay. This is a game that we made a pretty noticeable mistake in as well. The first mistake is that I thought this was a Shockland. I definitely should have played this first. It's very likely that I could have lost this game if I hadn't drawn a Temple Garden right there. So I'm going to block his Street Champion. That's the mistake that I made. When he cast the Legion Loyalist, I thought for a second that I wouldn't be able to kill anything with High Priest because they would gain First Strike and Trample. I didn't realize that I was being an idiot and I clicked too quickly. What I should have done was I should have blocked the Ash Zealot or killed the Ash Zealot with High Priest. Now, because of my mistake, I end up blocking the Ash Zealot and then Golgari Charming, which does not end up killing the Ash Zealot or the Gorehouse Chainwalker. Play the healer. In my next turn, I believe I play Gate Creeper Vine for a basic Plains, and then I play High Priest. Oh no, I got a Swamp. So I should have gotten a Plains. That way I could have played Tristani on turn 5. And Tristani ends up sitting in my hand for quite a while, where it could have just been ridiculous. I do get an Obsidat, and that may have been part of the reason I got a Swamp with Gate Creeper Vine, was to get Obsidat down. However, I think Tristani and Smiter would have been just fine. And here we've got these 2/1s that stop blockers, which is no bueno, because he can stop our High Priest, which means that we can't just kill the Reckoner. If he does do that, though, we get to absorb some of his guys. So he Firefish strikes our Obsidat and our Elephant, allowing me to block and trade, or no, not block and trade because he's got the Legion Loyalist, but get his Boros Reckoner off the table. Here we play Vraska and we just get a Firefish Striker off the table. That card is pretty dangerous. And we're at 5, but right now he can only deal us 3 damage. Drawing a healer there was pretty clutch. And we're leaving Obsidat back because we really need to be able to block 2 guys. We can't just block 1 guy because of Firefish Striker. And he floods out a little bit. And then we finally draw our Forest. And we're able to nuke his other Firefish Striker, which is the most dangerous spell with Vraska. Now that we've got him off the table and we've got a little bit of a buffer, we also decide to flicker out Obsidat since we would gain 7 life with him in the following turn. But that's it for the round 2, and I'll see you for the round 3. So we're back for round 3, and I won the die roll, and I keep a really risky hand. You'll see it here. I figured that if I drew any land, I would be doing pretty well against pretty much anything. And then I see a Foundry Street Denizen. And I miss my land drop. And he goes nuts on turn 2. So this game was not a good game to miss my land drop. However, even if I had hit all of my lands, and I miss it again on turn 3, so I scoop. Even if I had hit all my lands, he had a pretty nuts opening. One of the best you can have without multiple Burning Tree Emissaries. So we lost that one, and we're going to go on to game 2, which we also lose pretty handily. We decided to keep because we've got a Selesnya Charm, an Abrupt Decay, and Loxodon Smiter, and he doesn't end up playing a 1-drop, which is great for us. So we play our Smiter, and I think it gets killed here. Maybe Active Aggression. Nope. Burning Tree Emissary and Mizzy borders my face. So now our plan is to wait until after attack, make a Selesnya Charm token, and Orzhov Charm to stem the bleeding. And he follows up with a Boros Reckoner, which we have to Abrupt Decay. Only having 1 black mana is putting us in a little bit of a bind. If we had had a second black mana here, we could have saved ourselves 5 life and been at 12. And we may have actually won this game if we had been able to avoid this Madcap Firefish Striker attack. So we're looking okay. We're at 7. We're about to stabilize and make an 8/8. We draw our second swamp, which would be great if we could find an Obzidot. And he active treasons my elephant. I decide not to block the elephant here, because I would really like to keep him, and I would just go down to 2 life. Unfortunately, he has a Dyna Charge, and that's round 3. If we go over to round 4, we get to play against our red-white-black opponent again. He won the roll and he plays first. And our hand is missing a white, but I'm willing to keep it. We do have an Abrupt Decay, and our hand is pretty strong if we draw any white source. There's a white source. It's a little late to the party, but it is a white source. So we're just gonna play Keyrune and plan to play a Smiter on turn 4. However, we finally draw white, we get our Smiter, and then we decide that it's important to get rid of this Underworld connection. We do not want that card eating our face. He 1-for-1's our guy, and we make a Centaur Healer. And our hand is just all removal spells. Apparently his is as well, though. So we activate our Keyrune and swing in for 3. Oh, we don't. Why don't we activate? I'm not sure. We take this opportunity to kill his Rakdos Keyrune. And then we make a Selesnya Charm. That's why we didn't. Because we're gearing up to try and get some beats in while his board is empty. And he ends up dreadboring our 2/2, and then attacking us with an Ash Zealot that gets instantly Abrupt Decayed. I guess I should have used an Orzhov Charm there. So we get a Vraska, and the board's empty. He's down to 1 card. Our plan here is to make 3 1/1 Assassins and win the game with that. So he tries to Devour Flush my Keyrune, and in response, I bounce it back to my hand with the Orzhov Charm, and then replay it. This right now apparently is my win condition, so I want to protect it. And there's a big old Rakdos return for 6, knocking our Vraska down to 1. But we're just going to keep chugging away, making things die if they attack her, and hitting for 3. So we +1 our Vraska, and he decides to attack it. I mean, I guess the Boros Reckoner is going to die either way, but I would have liked him to attack me. I feel like that is a better play, and then force me to use Vraska on the Boros Reckoner. So we played another Vraska, and he's got an Obsidat. So we start swinging in. Oh, we actually leave our key rune back. That way we can make 3/1/1 assassins. And I decided to block since he went after Vraska here. So we make 3/1/1s, and then we play our third Vraska to kill his Reckoner. And here I believe he has a Mizium Mortars? Yeah. Which is no bueno. And I'm not entirely sure why I conceded that game. I could have played out both of my cards. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure why I conceded. I know he had Obsidat, and I would have gone down to 10. But I'm not sure why I ended up conceding that. On to game 2. Oh, before we get on to game 2, let's take a look at our sideboard. So we sideboard out 1 Vine, 1 Viscopa, 1 Guildgate, the Golgari Charm, and all 3 Centaur Healer for 3 Angel of Serenity, 1 was already in our main deck, and then 4 Underworld Connections. And we go on to game 2. So I like this hand. We've got an early Abrupt Decay. We've got a Key Rune. I think I slammed the Loxodon Smiter out there on turn 3. I did consider leaving it in my hand and playing the Key Rune. That way I could play a turn 4 Vraska. So I make a Key Rune, I play a land, and I make a Gatecreeper Vine. And we're going to Abrupt Decay that Underworld Connection, because we don't want him to start drawing cards. We make another Smiter and pass the turn. And then we see him miss a land drop, which is, you know, bad for him, but great for us. And we decide to make Vraska here instead of attack with Key Rune, because this will make us 1 turn closer to Assassins, but he has a Dreadbore for it. This time we attack, and then we play our Overgrown Tomb, untapped, and make Vraska. And I'm not feeling super great. Our board position is okay, but he does still have 3 cards in hand, and now an Underworld Connection. So we play a connection of our own, and then attack him for 3, and we let him keep his Underworld Connection while we buff up Vraska. So he plays a Ghost. And then we use Vraska to make 3/1/1s, which may not have been the best play, but he needs a mass removal spell here, or else he loses the game. That was my thinking. And he does indeed have a mass removal spell with Angel of Serenity. So he nabs our 3 assassin tokens, and we're very sad. But then we're able to Selesnya Charm his Obsidat before attacks. And we play our own angel here, getting his angel, our Loxodon Smiters, both of our Loxodon Smiters. And we've still got our Underworld connection up. So he plays a second Obsidian, and our game plan is to just make an Obsidian to Legend rule. Drawing a second angel is pretty sweet. We bring the beats, knocking him down to 4. Obsidians bounce off each other, and does he have the Rakdos return? He does. He nabs our angel, and then we draw a card. This is one of the reasons I didn't activate it on my turn, because if it was a spell, I didn't want to just lose it. So we attack with Angel, and that's game, even though he, nailed us. On to game 3. This time we're on the draw, which I almost like better than on the play. His deck is relatively the same speed as mine, and being able to draw an extra card just seems awesome. Granted, I would never choose to go on the draw, but it doesn't feel so bad to have to be on it. And we're going to Abrupt Decay, or we're going to Orzhov Charm this, because we didn't want to spend the life to get an untapped green source. And then we're going to play turn 4 Keyrune, followed up by turn 5 Obsidian. And we're leaving the Loxodon Smiter in our hand, partly because we've been using our mana every turn, but partly because we just want to throw it out when he makes us discard it to Rakdos return. He has a Devour Flesh, which is sad times for us, and then he makes an Underworld connection. So we're going to make our own Underworld connection and Abrupt Decay his to stem his card advantage. So here comes a return, which is just great for us since we get a 4/4. And we draw a card, and we put an angel in our graveyard. Drawing a second Underworld Connections is actually just gross. Now we get to draw 3 cards a turn. And we've got a very nice board presence. So here's an angel for him. And, oh look, there's an angel for us. So we're going to tuck Angel, Angel, and Obsidian. And now what this means is that we also have a Loxodon Smiter in our hand again in case he has another Rakdos return. So he's going to blow double Mizium Mortars on this thing. And I'm going to play out Obsidian. And I take a little minute to figure out how to tap my mana here because I obviously wasn't sure how to do it at first. So we've got Obsidian, and we flicker him out with the idea that we're going to Abrupt Decay this thing, but then he returns us. And we don't want to discard everything, so we draw 2 cards in response, and just end up keeping Abrupt Decay Angel and discard this lovely Smiter. Abrupt Decay comes after the Reckoner, and then we swing for the win. Now our opponent says it was either the return or Obsidian. Not sure which one would have been a better play. Good games. And I think that the Obsidian would have been the better play. He knows I have Loxodon Smiter in my hand, so he knows it's just going to come out for free. And he knows that I've got Obsidian coming in out of exile. The only way that he doesn't just lose that game straight up is if I don't have an instant speed removal spell for his Obsidian. So that's what I would have done. That was the event. We ended up in 8th place, which isn't the best, but it doesn't really matter because we got 9 points and that's what counts. So that was it. I hope you guys liked this quick recap, and I'll see you next time.